passed away. I was in the 3rd grade when she left us. I was young and I didn't understand what cancer was. My mother stood in the kitchen with tears in her eyes. She slowly hung up the phone and delivered the news. I dropped to the floor and I cried. I cried so hard my temples throbbed. She told me I didn't have to go to school that day, but I did anyway. Maybe it was a sign of my resilience, even at a young age. That morning, I walked to school with a heavy heart. The sun wasn't as bright, and the grass not as green. Who would have known that a decade later, I too would face cancer? I was 17. I had recently graduated, and I'd love to tell you that my first year out of high school was nothing short of phenomenal, but it wasn't. I was diagnosed on August 4th, 2005, just a few weeks before my 18th birthday. My diagnosis, thyroid cancer. Instead of preparing myself for the transition from student to adult, I went from graduate to cancer patient. I don't remember much from that summer, except for all the beautiful flowers that were delivered to my hospital room. When I had the last of my stitches removed, I asked the doctor when the scar would disappear. He told me there were a variety of scar diminishing creams and injections that I could get, but he said I wouldn't need them. He said my scar would become less red and visible over the course of the year. It didn't go away. I never healed well. 8 years later, it's still there and people still stare. But it doesn't bother me like it used to. I've chosen to use my scar and my personal story as a tool to help spread awareness about a disease that, as of this year, affects 2 in 5 Canadians. Unless I'm fortunate enough to win a lottery, I'll probably never be able to donate the millions I so happily would to the Canadian Cancer Society. So instead, I share my story. I want to raise awareness and participate in events like this, where hundreds of others know exactly what I've been through, or they know what it's like to lose a loved one. This past summer, accompanied by my wonderful boyfriend Josh, I took my first trip back to Newfoundland since my grandmother passed away. As our summer vacation came to an end, I thought it would be best to visit her. Having never stepped foot in a cemetery before, I found the whole experience kind of overwhelming. It was hard to see her name engraved in the headstone, and I fought hard to hold back tears with very little success. I stood there wrapped in Josh's arms, not being able to say anything. He gently kissed my forehead and told me that I needed to say all of the things I would say if she had been standing right there with us. It took me a few minutes to gather my thoughts, but between sobs, I managed to tell her that I loved her, that I missed her dearly, and that I hoped that I was making her very proud. I nestled a Ziploc sealed copy of my book, which is dedicated to her, behind the grass, where someone else had left some flowers. I stood for a while longer, staring into the clear navy blue sky, and as I whispered my goodbyes, a light rain pitter-pattered across my cheeks for only a few seconds. In that instant, I knew that was her way of letting me know she'd heard my prayers. That special moment, among so many others, is part of why I relay, why I fundraise, why I donate, and why I'm so passionate about what I do. In a way, I've been able to give my grandmother a voice. Surprisingly, cancer has given my life purpose. I've been able to do some incredible things and meet some truly wonderful people, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. When all is said and done, the most rewarding part is knowing that my story has given others hope or helped them even in the smallest way. And that's why I will continue to share my story for as long as I live. My name is Megan, and I'm a cancer survivor. Thank you.